It's time once again to dive headfirst into the cesspit that is modern Hollywood, where the talent is questionable, the egos are astronomical, and the only thing more fragile than their careers is their sense of reality. And today's subject is Ezra Miller, once a young actor who Hollywood tried to turn into a blockbuster superstar, only for the whole thing to unravel piece by piece, scandal by scandal, and what's left behind is a story that is pure madness.
And here we go.
Ezra Miller was born in 1992 in New Jersey. At just 16, with nothing more than some experience in school theatre, Ezra auditioned for Antonio Campos's indie drama After School in 2008, and against the odds landed the role. The film was grim, unsettling, and the perfect showcase for Ezra's raw intensity. Critics began whispering about a bold new talent who had seemingly come out of nowhere. That buzz only grew louder in 2011 when Ezra delivered a chilling performance as the psychopathic son of Tilda Swinton in a movie called We Need to Talk About Kevin. Now tuck that away in the back of your mind, because soon enough you'll understand why Ezra might have been a little bit too comfortable in that role. Then came the movie called The Perks of Being a Wallflower in 2012, a coming-of-age drama where Ezra played Patrick, the sharp-tongued openly gay stepbrother, in what was one of the standout performances from the film. This was the movie that put Ezra Miller on the map. It resonated with young audiences, and suddenly Ezra was a breakout star with mainstream recognition, the kind of actor studios began circling for bigger roles. By the mid-2010s, after a string of indie films, Ezra Miller was seen as a proven actor. Then in 2014 came the jackpot, being cast as the Flash in the DC Extended Universe, which is owned by Warner Brothers. At first it was just cameos, but 2017's Justice League gave Ezra a proper crack at the character. Suddenly, Ezra wasn't just some weird kid from indie films anymore, but a full-blown superhero in DC's attempt to compete with Marvel. As if that wasn't enough, Warner Brothers handed Ezra another golden ticket, a starring role in the Fantastic Beasts franchise. Across 3 films, Ezra became a central figure in J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, the prequel series to Harry Potter. Locked into not one but 2 massive Warner Brother franchises, Ezra Miller looked unstoppable. This new partnership between Ezra Miller and Warner Brothers actually got off to a good start. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them in 2016 was riding high on the Harry Potter name, and the film was a box office hit. However, what started well for Warner Brothers didn't continue that way. In 2017, Justice League was supposed to be DC's answer to Marvel's Avengers. Instead, it was a bloated, incoherent mess. Zack Snyder left during production, Joss Whedon took over, and the result was a chopped-up film full of weak character arcs and dodgy CGI. Instead of saving DC, it cemented their reputation for sloppy, directionless filmmaking. Then came 2018's Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. It was the sequel nobody had asked for, and critics made sure to remind everyone of that. Fans were confused, bored, and already checking out of the franchise. By 2019, interviews with Ezra Miller had turned into rambling lectures about art and identity that left people completely baffled, while red carpet appearances featured some of the strangest outfits ever seen. Like, what the fuck is that?
You serious?
Then came 2020, where the PR department at Warner Brothers was truly put to the test because the Wizarding World had imploded. J.K. Rowling's public comments had sparked massive backlash, and Johnny Depp's legal battles with Amber Heard forced him to step down from the franchise. Warner Brothers, desperate to squeeze another Fantastic Beasts movie out of the wreckage, scrambled to recast him. Things were bad enough in 2020 for Warner Brothers, but Ezra Miller saw that as a challenge. That April, a video went viral of Ezra Miller in Iceland choking a woman outside a bar and throwing her to the ground. Now, this should have been the line in the sand. This was the moment to cut ties, fire Ezra, and save themselves from the incoming storm. But Warner Brothers had other ideas. They were already years into development on a Flash solo movie. Instead of protecting their future, they doubled down on Ezra. They covered their eyes, blocked their ears, and just pretended that it didn't happen.
Not too sure that was a clever move.
Surprise, surprise, Warner Brothers paid the price for doing nothing, because in 2022, with filming on The Flash complete and The Secrets of Dumbledore already bombing at the box office, Ezra Miller was busy playing Grand Theft Auto in real life.
What?
March 2022, arrested in Hawaii at a karaoke bar for disorderly conduct. April, arrested again for throwing a chair at a woman's head. June, accused of grooming a 12-year-old and trying to recruit them into a cult. August 2022, charged with burglary, and that's not even the full catalogue. On the side, Ezra was allegedly squatting in homes, harassing people, and housing children in a property filled with guns and drugs.
I got nothing.
Warner Brothers were in deep shit, and it was partially self-inflicted because when the warning shot went off in 2020, they failed to act. Thanks to timing, they might have just about gotten away with it on Fantastic Beasts 3 because Ezra's scandals didn't sink that ship any faster than it was already going down. But with The Flash, the timing couldn't have been any worse. They now had a $200 million Flash movie already in the can, with the lead actor who had gone completely nuts after filming. So what do? Do you cancel the film outright, recast the role, and spend another $200 million reshooting the whole thing? Or do you do the tried and failed, close your eyes, block your ears and hope for the best? Well, Warner Brothers went with option C, again, because of course they did. Only this time they made Ezra apologise and blame everything on complex mental health issues, then Warner Brothers pretended the problem was solved.
Right.
Ezra's scandals had made The Flash a PR nightmare, but to be fair, the film itself was already doomed. This film had spent nearly a decade in development hell. 4 directors came and went, at least 5 different scripts were drafted and scrapped. Even Ezra co-wrote a script with the comic book writer Grant Morrison, which was rejected by Warner Brothers. By the time Andy Muschietti finally got behind the camera, the movie was stitched together from so many competing visions it didn't know what it wanted to be. Was it a Flash character study, a Batman nostalgia trip, a Marvel-style multiverse thing? It tried to be all of them and ended up being none of them. The marketing leaned almost entirely on Michael Keaton's return as Batman, which was basically Warner Brothers admitting they didn't trust Ezra to sell the movie. Also, combine all this with the knowledge that James Gunn was rebooting the whole DC universe anyway, and you've got a movie that was destined to fail. Ezra wasn't the sole reason the film bombed, but Ezra was the final nail in a very expensive coffin.
I declare bankruptcy!
So, where does that leave Ezra Miller today? Well, nowhere really. No projects are lined up, no appearances, no future with DC, and no more Fantastic Beasts. Hollywood has quietly shut the door, and it's not hard to see why. This wasn't just messy addictions or bad publicity. It was arrests, burglary charges, grooming allegations, violent outbursts. And through everything, Warner Brothers looked the other way because they had too much money on the line. If a no-name actor had been caught choking a fan on camera, their career would have been over instantly. But when there's a $200 million franchise at stake, suddenly accountability takes a back seat. People love to point to Robert Downey Jr. as proof that comebacks are possible. But here's the difference, Downey's troubles hurt himself. Ezra's scandals involve victims, violence, grooming allegations, harassment. That's a line you can't uncross. And even with Downey, let's be honest, if it was Disney that had been running Marvel in 2008, he probably would have never been hired. The stars aligned for him. Ezra won't get that miracle. Maybe one day Ezra pops up in a tiny indie film that nobody sees. But one thing's for certain, Ezra Miller's blockbuster career is dead. Hollywood thought they had found a superhero. What they actually found was a criminal record wearing spandex. And that's the blunt truth of it.